What is up, guys? So some news has come out, some casting of a character that might confirm the main villain of The Flash Season 6's second graphic novel. Now, what they're doing here with The Flash Season 6 is obviously very unusual compared to what they've done in the past. They've never done anything like this, at least not on the Flash, and at least not like actually officially confirming it. They have definitely done this before on Arrow in Season 6, where Caden James was the villain and then Ricardo Diaz took over, and while it was a part of the same storyline, there was a cutoff point. Similarly, even more so in Season 7, there was the prison storyline, which you can call graphic novel number 1 and graphic novel number 2 with Amico Queen. Now, they're doing the same thing here with Flash Season 6, although this time they're actually telling us that it's two different graphic novels. Graphic novel number 1 is 8 episodes long. So far, 6 of the episodes have aired, and Ramsey Rosso, aka Bloodwork, is the main villain, with the episodes also setting up the crisis. Then episode 9 is the crisis, and episode 10 to 22 is the second graphic novel. Now, the villain of the second graphic novel has not been confirmed as of yet. All we know really is that Wally West will appear facing off against a classic villain, and that Sue Dearborn, the upcoming love interest for Ralph Dibny, who will later probably become Sue Dibny, will be debuting as well. That's all we've gotten up to this point, but now we get the casting of a new character that may confirm the main villain of that season. So, the new character that I'm talking about here is a character named Ava McCullough, who is actually a series regular on this season, which means that she's probably going to be appearing in like every episode after the crisis, or at least they'll have the option of bringing her back every episode. Now, she's being played by an actress named Efrat Dor, and the description definitely paints her as a very villainous character, which makes sense because she's definitely, or most likely, going to be a gender-bent character from the comics. A character named Evan McCullough, who's actually been mentioned on The Flash, is a character from Earth 2 named Evan McCullough, who is the Mirror Master. In the comics, the second Mirror Master after Sam Scudder is Evan McCullough, a character who I've definitely wanted to see on the show for a while, not only because Mirror Master is a really, really cool and interesting villain that they screwed up in the original Mirror Master on the show with Sam Scudder, and they could give this new one a costume, a more interesting version of his abilities, and like to explore the mirror world, but also because Evan McCullough, or at least McCullough Technologies, has been mentioned a couple times on the show, so why not bring in this other version of Mirror Master? But it seems like they are doing that, but with a gender-bent version of the character named Ava McCullough instead of Evan. So the character description reads, a quantum engineer and co-founder of McCullough Technologies, Ava McCullough is a scientific genius who works on the bleeding edge. Ava has been away from Central City for many years, but a chance meeting with Iris West Allen results in a surprising alliance that pushes the boundaries of sanity, while also uncovering a vast conspiracy to take down Team Flash and its allies. So this description very clearly paints Ava McCullough as a villain. It's very likely that she will be actually becoming the second version of Mirror Master in this universe. Not only is she the co-founder of McCullough Technologies and also works on the bleeding edge, so can possibly make a mirror gun, but also she's going to be uncovering a vast conspiracy that takes down the Team Flash and its allies, or she has a surprising alliance that pushes the boundaries of sanity. It is definitely very likely that she will be becoming Mirror Master, but with the surprising alliance and the vast conspiracy to take down Team Flash, it's also possible that she won't be the main villain. She'll be a part of the main villain group, and the main villain group will be the Rogues, some new version of Captain Cold, maybe Heatwave, Mirror Master, obviously, maybe Weather Wizard can come back, or maybe Weather Witch will come back for this group. It's possible that they're finally getting to the Rogues being a villainous group, the main villain of a season, because they've never done that before, even though before the show came out, the Rogues, especially Captain Cold himself, was definitely the most famous, most popular Flash villain, and the fact that they never got to doing those characters as the main villains was definitely weird, but it seems like maybe they're doing that now with not the original versions of the character, but the new versions, as they bring in this Ava McCullough, who is possibly a gender-bent version of Evan McCullough. They could definitely bring back Weather Witch and a couple different characters for this group to actually have the Rogues as the main villains of a season, but on the other hand, it is possible that Ava McCullough herself, aka the Mirror Master will be the only main villain of the season, because out of all the rogues, I think Mirror Master and Captain Cold are the most equipped to be main villains. Captain Cold because of his backstory and rivalry with the Flash, and also his abilities definitely being interesting enough to warrant being a main villain. But for Evan McCullough, or Mirror Master, his abilities are very interesting. They're not just shooting fire or controlling the weather. The mirror world could definitely be a very interesting thing to explore in a season of The Flash, so it is possible that they're making Mirror Master the actual villain of this season, which I wouldn't be against. In fact, I've mentioned in a couple of videos that I think Mirror Master could have been a great main villain for a season, certainly not the Sam Scudder version, but a new version, possibly Evan McCullough with the costume, the mirror gun, and exploring the mirror world. So I am all for Mirror Master being the main villain of a season of The Flash, but it begs the question of why they're gender bending the character. Like, what's the point of that? You could just bring in a new character who isn't so closely named to Evan McCullough, because then you could also bring in Evan McCullough, and I don't know, it's weird that they're gender bending the character, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. However, it is possible based off the synopsis that they aren't, and Ava McCullough is actually a completely new character who's actually related to Evan McCullough, because the synopsis says that she's a co-founder of McCullough Technologies, and that suggests that the other co-founder is also a McCullough, because why would they name the company after just one of the co-founders and not the other? So it's very possible that the other co-founder is Evan McCullough, the brother or something of Ava McCullough, or maybe even the husband. It's possible that Ava McCullough is the wife of Evan McCullough, who was obviously not born with the name McCullough, but I think considering how closely their names are, Ava and Evan, it's more likely that they are siblings, or it's even more likely than that Ava is a gender-bent character, or a gender-bent version of Evan McCullough. But I think it would be interesting if there were actually like a group or a duo of Mirror Masters, Ava and Evan McCullough, either siblings or spouses in this universe. Obviously, there's no way of knowing at this point, but considering she's called the co-founder and the company is called McCullough Technologies, it's very likely, in fact, it's like almost impossible for the other co-founder to not also be a McCullough, so maybe that's actually Evan McCullough, the Mirror Master. So based off this character, the fact that she's a series regular, the fact that it seems like she's a gender-bent version of Mirror Master, and also her character description all suggest that either she, the Mirror Master, or the entire Rogues will be the villain of Season 6, which is not what or it seems like anybody else expected. The character that everybody expected and wanted to be the main villain of the second half of Season 6 was the Red Death, a character who in the comics is from the dark multiverse, a multiverse where everything is more sinister and dark, compared to the regular universe or the regular multiverse. In one universe, Bruce Wayne went insane after the deaths of all the Robins and tried to get the speedster abilities so that he could go back in time to prevent their deaths and also the death of his parents, but in the end he fused with Barry Allen in the Speed Force and became the Red Death, one of the main villains of the Dark Knight's Metal event, which was only from, I think at this point it's 2 years ago, which is certainly very recent, but it's not like it's any more recent than Bloodwork, who also debuted in, I'm pretty sure, 2017. So for those two villains who debuted in the same year, and as recently as they did to be the main villains of the same season, is quite the coincidence. However, it doesn't seem like that's going to pan out, but the reason people thought the Red Death would be the main villain of this season is because not only was he mentioned in Season 5, as Barry went through the memories of Nora Allen and saw a recording in the Flash Museum from David Singh, where he mentioned the Red Death and mentioned that he had a very large kill count, but also Crisis on Infinite Earths, while not being connected to the Red Death at all, as it came out 32 years before the Red Death debuted, it would be the perfect opportunity to create that character in universe. Because the combination of universes that happens at the end of the Crisis could be a good opportunity to create the Red Death, as he is a combination of two different characters. The combination of universes cannot go as smoothly as, or it could go less smoothly than the Monitor or the rest of the people or the heroes expect, and maybe create this combination of Barry Allen and Bruce Wayne, or Barry Allen and Oliver Queen, or Barry Allen and somebody else, or some other speedster and some other character, because of the Crisis, which could create the Red Death. These obviously would be characters from other universes, but like I said, the Crisis would be the perfect opportunity to create the most comic-accurate version of the Red Death they can without actually introducing the Dark Multiverse, which I doubt they will ever do, as it's just too complicated, and also after the Crisis, it doesn't seem like there will be a multiverse whatsoever. But with all that in mind, everybody, including myself, expected and hoped for the Red Death to be the main villain of the second part of Season 6 after Bloodwork, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. It seems like the Mirror Master, maybe a couple other rogues in the Rogues Gallery, but certainly at least a gender-bent Mirror Master will be the villain of this season, as she is a series regular. But that doesn't mean the Red Death will never appear. I mean, considering his mention in Season 5, they kind of have to have him appear in this show at some time, or at least that mention will be like for nothing and will just be like teasing us for no reason. So while I don't think the Red Death will be appearing in this season, at least not until the cliffhanger of the season, if anything, he definitely can be the main villain of a season going forward, possibly without the Crisis and possibly being less comic accurate than we expected because they don't use the multiverse or even a combination of characters. So anyway, those are my thoughts on everything we learned about Ava McCullough, the new Mirror Master possibly, and the villain of the second half of Season 6, or the second part, the final 13 episodes. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on everything I talked about in this video in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.